Hello everyone, this is Danielle. Wanted to create some training videos for you guys now that we're making this transition to teamwork. Um, Hopefully because it functions very much like Basecamp, but without some of the limitations and with a whole lot of extra features. Hopefully this will be a fairly simple transition. So everybody should have received an email invitation where you click a link and create your own password. And so hopefully you've been able to log in by now. When you log in, you're going to be taken directly to this dashboard, but I wanted to point out a couple of things. I don't know if everybody is going to have this drop down over here, but we are using the Teamwork Desk option as well. And in this, we have created some help docs that are written primarily for the agents, the people we work with at the agencies, to kind of help remind them of our process and how to use teamwork to support that process, and give them some tips for giving you guys good instructions. So I will also include the link to that. Here's what it looks like when you look at it from the client-facing side. And so you'll see there's the teamwork process, and then at the bottom there's also the general development process. So I'll include this link when we send you guys this video so that you guys can look through these as well. It might help familiarize you. I know a lot of you, I think, aren't necessarily clear on every step of the process, just your part of the process, so it might be interesting to read some of that. The chat we are not using yet. We may work on a way to integrate that. You can see it's still in beta. So for now, we're still over in Slack for all of our chatting and status updates. So when you come to the dashboard here, just like in Basecamp, you've got your full list of projects on one side, recent activity down the center here, which you can sort through. You can see we have run some migration around the beginning of January was the last time it was run, and we'll be doing it again today, which is the 15th on Friday. So hopefully some of these late tasks will get closed out based on that, but then we'll be spending the weekend, Ryan and I will be spending the weekend going through these, trying to get everything cleaned up and make sure that we're starting fresh with workable data on Monday or Sunday, I guess your time. Just like Basecamp, I'm not all that impressed with the dashboard. Maybe that'll change once we're actually in active mode. Right now, I'm just getting a lot of notifications of Justine adding notebooks because that does not migrate over automatically. So bless her, she is taking one for the team and moving all the notebooks, all the whiteboards, which will now be called notebooks, into Teamwork. Thank you, TINS. So we'll see what that looks like as we start going, but hopefully it'll be a little more useful than the Basecamp dashboard, which I find not terribly helpful. If you're looking through tasks, so for example, managers, when you're looking to checking your team's overdue tasks and making sure that they have what they need to get things closed out, you want to do that here in the Everything tab. So here you've got a list of all active tasks, completed tasks, all that fun stuff. You can sort by due date, so past due date, future due dates, so that you can see people's workload and what things are overdue. You can sort by who they're assigned to. So this is a really useful place to get those reports. The other thing that I really like about this, as opposed to in Basecamp, when you clicked on it, it would take you to that project, that task in that project. But here you can actually click it and it'll open it up. So you can make comments, you can add descriptions, you can actually edit it from here, you could update the due date, those kinds of things from here. So that's always really nice. That's a nice feature. On the projects overview tab here, you'll see we've got all of the projects. You'll notice we're actually going to start categorizing because we have that ability now. So we have our base website projects, we have our rush projects. Not sure if everybody's aware, but there are some that Ryan works on that are built from templates, so he kind of throws them up pretty quickly by himself. That may be passed off to the dev team here soon, so we've got that category as well. New category, some of you may have been involved in the e-commerce projects, which we'll be building on quite a bit in the new year. So hopefully this category will be getting filled up. You'll see that everything that has come over from Basecamp doesn't have a category, so that's another thing that we'll be working on, categorizing everything as we move into the next couple of weeks. And it looks like I've yet to add a category for support. So we'll also, once the site goes live and it's moving into support, we'll add that category as well and move that there. So this is a nice place to kind of get an overview of what projects we have active. I know for me, this will be a great place for me to see stalled projects and have a good place to check in, a good time to check in with clients on things. The calendar as of yet has only pulled over everything that was already in Basecamp. So right now in Basecamp, we're really only using those for, using the calendar for launches and dev sites, when the dev sites are live. Hopefully this will start getting filled up as we use the milestones and things correctly. We'll see how that goes. Statuses is kind of interesting. It's a place just like our updates updates room in Slack. It's a good place for people to comment on what they worked on, what was completed, if it's not quite done, that kind of thing. I see Red's already been in here playing with that a little bit. That's awesome. For now, though, I think we're going to stick with with using Slack for those updates, just so that we're not changing everything all at once. But I think this might be a good option for us. Then I'm not sure who all has access to the People tab. It may just be people marked as administrators, so ignore this part if it's not there for you. But you can sort through here if you need to. You can update people's accounts if you happen to see that request. Usually Ryan and I take care of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the overview tabs up at the top. And now I want to actually look at an individual project. And for that, I'm going to use a template project that I have set up. I'm going to actually do a separate video for this to talk through some of those because all of the new projects we will start setting up on this template. So you'll start to see some tasks that are already created when the project's set up and that kind of thing. So I'll go through that in a separate video. For right now, I just want to go through the features of an individual project page. So once you've clicked on a project, again, just like Basecamp, you've got an overview page. You can see the people that are assigned to the project. Something new is that we've actually got roles now. And again, I will go over that when I discuss the actual template. So you've got the overview page. Again, I'm not real sure. We'll see how it goes. Looks so far like it doesn't do the strange changing the due date and moving the item like Basecamp does. So I don't know if anybody has ever noticed that, but me and the other managers, when you assigned a task in Basecamp, it moved from the day it was created to the day it was assigned, and you lost that history of how long did we have the task, when did it get assigned, that kind of thing. And I think Teamwork does a much better job of managing that on this overview page. So most of you, if you use it just like me, you probably just use it as kind of quick links to the newest things in the project. Then we can go into the task list. You'll see here in this template project, I have some task lists set up already. The initial The first item when you're looking at the list is the list name. So just like Basecamp, we'll be asking clients to set up lists for content or, grouping things if necessary. If it's a pre-populated list, I have a little description here to help. Just like Basecamp, you've got a checkbox, the person who it's assigned to, and the title right here. You can click the More link and it'll pop open the description. This one happens to be locked because it's on a locked list. We thus far are not using subtasks. Until we get familiar with the system, I'm not going to encourage clients to use those either. I'm just not really sure how that'll work with our workflow. So for right now, I'm going to keep everybody using individual tasks for discrete items to try to make it as easy as possible to complete your workflow. Timers, just like Basecamp, we're not worried about those. Due dates will work the same way. You can pop that open and adjust them. Priority here, I'm instructing clients not to use the priority at all except for a few things like this website's down, and then they can use high priority. Similarly, when we assign tasks out, we'll be assigning high priority to things that are such. This progress tab, we're not going to be using just yet. Maybe later on, we'll see how that goes. Reminders are nice for managers, for example, if something, has just seemed to slip off somebody's to-do list, somebody slipped out of somebody's mind, you can add a reminder to them. Following is important. So this is how we're going to make sure that the people who need to know. So this is just like in Basecamp where you can tag people on a task or a message. You can just check this to add followers, and that way anybody who's checked will get notifications when anything's done on the task. That includes file uploads, comments, or when the task is completed. Just like Basecamp, you can add comments. And thus far, I haven't come up with anything useful for tags yet. So I think tasks are pretty straightforward. Milestones I'll get into once we talk about the template. Messages, again, just like in Basecamp, I'm trying to keep the messages to more general things. We will not accept task instructions from clients through a message. So we'll primarily just be using that for general questions, general communication about the project. Files, we've got just like Basecamp, doesn't matter where you upload it, in a message, in a task, it's still going to show up on this files screen. You can sort now, which is nice, upload files directly. I wouldn't worry about time. Notebooks are the same thing as whiteboards in Basecamp. Thank goodness I can now type notebook instead of whiteboard, which is always underlined because whiteboard is not a word. Anyway, so just like Basecamp will create individual whiteboards or individual notebooks for login information, we'll instruct the clients to do the same for domain name login information, any kind of third-party integration stuff we can put here as well. Risks we won't be using, links probably won't be using, billing, and then people I think again is only available for administrators, and that is so you can add and remove people's access to the tasks. While I'm thinking of it, I know there were a few people, I think Jackler was one of them, who said that he always had to request access to new projects. I've changed that setting for you in Teamwork, so hopefully you'll automatically have access. If anybody else has that issue, feel free to message me and I can change that as well. I think that's it for now. It's basically pretty straightforward and hopefully will work just like Basecamp. The next video I will do will be about this template project and how I hope it will work for kind of normalizing things across all projects and automating some things. So feel free to ask me or your managers if you have questions on anything. We do understand that, you know, given this transition, it'll take us a little time and everybody might be a little bit slower the first couple weeks, but hopefully this will make everybody's lives a little bit easier. We won't be dealing with some of the annoying little quirks of Basecamp anymore. So thanks everybody for your patience, and looking forward to a great new year.